Building versus buying a house. Is it better to buy new and get the first homeowners grant, or is it better to go for something established? Well, today we're going to go through more details.
Let's jump right in. Buying versus building a home, it can be a bit of a challenging thing to work out. After all, there are lots of incentives like the first homeowners grant at the moment, which in certain states is up to $15,000 to build a brand new home. So is that incentive enough to build a brand new home? Well, in this guide, we're gonna break down the positives and the negatives of both building a brand new home and buying an existing one. But before we get started, make sure if you like the video, give us a thumbs up or subscribe below. Now, so a brand new home. No one's lived in it, no one's farted on the couch, it's all yours. You can build it how you want. What are the advantages of building a brand new home?
Building a brand new home, it's exactly that. You get to choose where you're gonna put your lounge room, you get to choose where you're gonna put your second bedroom. It gives you absolute choice in exactly what you want, where you want it to be. It's brand new, so you've got no one else that's lived in it before. You've also got an opportunity to create instant equity in the property.
So in other words, if you buy the land for cheap, you build for fairly cheap, the value of the property could be much more than if you bought something existing in the market. You're basically buying it wholesale, so you can make money a little bit quicker. It's obviously a big advantage of a brand new property. The third advantage of a brand new property is you can tailor it to the market. So if you're making an investment property, you can make it to meet the exact market needs at the moment. Maybe put a granny flat in the back because it might meet families that have teenage children, I'm not sure, depends on the area. But they're the three major advantages of building a brand new home. One of the biggest disadvantages to building a brand new home is that it can be a bit overpriced sometimes. So if you're buying a house and land package, for example, it's kind of like when you buy a brand new car. You'll pay a little bit of a premium because someone's done all the work for you and packaged it up. So that's one pretty big negative of buying a brand new property.
Another detractor is the fact that you're gonna be paying for rent as well as interest on the land whilst you're waiting for the property to be built. Now, the build period can take anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks, right up to 6 to 12 months, depending on the builder and depending on weather. So this is another factor that you need to take into account when factoring in the pros and cons with buying new or looking at an established property.
Even on that, there can be lots of delays. So weather can hold things up at the build at the end. My mate, I'm not gonna say his name, has recently gone through a build and it got held up by the council not issuing the titles. So he's had to spend another 3 months of rent waiting for the council to let him move to his house because it can be a lengthy process. It's not super quick. The third negative about building a home is there's limited land selection. So because you need to find somewhere to build a house, it's pretty hard to create more land in the middle of the city. You might be either building behind an existing house, or if it's in a lot of cases where there's new land subdivisions, you might be further out. So your option's gonna be a little bit more limited compared to if you're buying an existing home.
The last is costs, and costs can blow out when building. And what we mean by that is typically your build will be a fixed price contract, so you know exactly what the costs are. However, give food for thought for things like landscaping, the driveway crossover, sometimes that's left out of the build, and window treatments, and all those little things that you don't really think are a big thing until you own the house. So factor into account all your costs associated with the build, including little things like fire screens. You don't think it's a big thing now, but when you need to do the whole house and it's gonna cost you a few $1,000s to get it done, it all adds up.
Now, because you're buying a house in an area that already exists, there's already a market established. So in other words, you know what stuff's gonna buy and sell for, and you know if you're getting a good deal or not. Compared to a new place that might be a new subdivision, it's new land prices, and there's not a big history on there. So you can, with the right research, potentially get a bit of a bargain on an existing home. You might have seen what they bought it for, and you might be able to get it for under market value, which can be pretty appealing, right?
The second is the ability to add value to the property. So if you find a property that has a bad kitchen, needs a bit of a small renovation, and you see ways to add value to it and do it up and make it better, potentially you can make that property worth more. That's an area where we see as an established property, you have a little bit more upside in being able to tinker with it and make it a bit better.
Get out the paintbrush and start renovating. So another big advantage is that you're buying a home in an established area. So there's already gonna be cafes, there's already gonna be bus routes, there's gonna be train stations and a lot of amenity nearby. Whereas if you're buying a brand new housing estate, there's not gonna be as much amenity in the local area. Schools will only be brand new and you might not know what you're gonna get. All right, so a couple of negatives on existing property are maintenance.
That's exactly right. If you're buying an established property, you don't know exactly what's going to be needed to be done in the future. Like doing a building and pest is going to give you a bit of an idea on the things that need to be done. It's only until you've got the property that you'll realize after time that the roof tiles need changing, that you might need to redo the termite fence around the property.
You gotta press the toilet button a certain way for it to flush and jiggle it. There's all that stuff that comes up, and it's just part and parcel of owning a property that isn't brand new. So that can be a bit of a negative for some people. The second negative about buying existing property is that there's a little bit less choice. Now, what I mean by that is you're buying a house that already exists. You're gonna have to get a 3 or 4 bedroom house in a certain area. All the houses are, broadly the same. You're not gonna be able to make some sort of glamorous mirror-filled house like Nados would like. So you need to kind of deal with that and understand that while the existing house might not be perfect for you, it can be good enough and you can always change it down the track.
And the last one are hidden problems. And we see it time and time again with people that do buy established properties. If you are buying a property, chances are it's gonna be 10, 20, 30, 40 years old. There's always gonna be things that you can't pick up straight away that need work on. My brother Josh recently had this with his property where he needed to change the cladding on the house. After a while, the sun gets at it, needed to strip the cladding down on the house and repaint it. So these are things that will continuously need to be done, and some things you won't even think about at the time of purchasing.
So that's it, guys. That's our breakdown on whether you should buy new or you should buy an existing property. There's lots of things there. Different property types suit different types of people. If you want a house exactly how you want it, maybe a new home's perfect for you, or if you don't have a big deposit. If you're happy to be in an established area and you want to live in a certain place, then an established home is more than likely to go for you. Nados?
Thanks for watching today, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up at huntergalloway.com.au, leave a comment, like and subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.